Chapter 18. Jake ran through the rain Monday morning, tried hard not to sleep through adverbs and adjectives, and did some weights that night. It felt weird not being out with the team. He did a light run on Tuesday morning. After school, he put on a t-shirt and shorts and pulled some sweats on over top. He missed wearing the diamond jersey and the warm-up suit, but he knew he was just running for himself today. Better yet, he was just running today. Just running to run. At least, he'd try. It was cold. Jake made sure he did lots of stretching and didn't take off his hat or sweats until they'd called everyone to the starting line. This was it. Simon was there. Spencer was there too. Jake saw his dad in the crowd and got a thumbs up. He saw Dave and caught another one. Okay, run to run. He took a deep breath and took his place at the line. No knots in his stomach, no weight on his shoulders. Jake smiled. He jumped right with the gun and got off to a great start. Spencer, Max, and a few others pulled ahead early. Not too fast, thought Jake. Not too fast, just stick with the others. Watch out for obstacles. He ran steadily, pulling in the cold air. Through the woods. Along the creek. Jake saw ice had formed along the edges. A flock of geese flew noisily overhead. His ears were burning and his fingers tingled, but Jake felt good. He felt strong. He passed a guy in black. He passed Max. He could just see the pylons ahead of the bridge when he pulled even with Spencer. They were running in sync, matched stride for stride. They looked at each other as they crossed the bridge, grinned, nodded, and took off in a sprint up the hill toward the finish. Jake felt the same surge of energy he'd had running through the tape in Deep Rapids. Dig, 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 go, 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 go. Side by side they ran. People were yelling, 1, 2, 1, 2, up to the finish. Finished. Spencer was first, but there wasn't even a second between them. It was that close. Jake felt empty and full at the same time. His first thought was that Spencer Solomon was a very good runner. His second thought was that he'd really like some water. His dad came up, slugged his shoulder, and handed him a water bottle. Well done, Jakey. Well done. Thanks, Dad. The guys from the Diamond team swarmed him seconds later, patting him on the back and giving him high fives. Tony, Sean, Sam. Paul must have had trombone practice or something. That was some cool running, Jake. Hey, guys, we gotta celebrate. You think they still have snow cones? They laughed and shivered. I could go for some hot chocolate, said Jake, but I want to see Simon come in. He's trying to break the top 20 today. They all waited and watched and cheered as Simon came in. Tony, Sam, and Sean tackled him on the other side of the finish line. Dude, your face is as red as your shirt, said Sean, laughing. Jake went over to shake his hand. Good run, Simon. Thanks, Jake. You too? Yeah. Me too. He held up 2 fingers. Sweet! Whew, Simon panted. I'm whipped. Fried. Pooped. He stopped and shook his head. Then he put his hands together and bowed to Sean. Apologies, he said. I think the only one who may say that is a true veteran of the duck pond. They roared. I'm going to see where I end up on that board, huffed Simon. I got high hopes for today. The boys moved toward the parking lot. Coming, Jake? I'll catch up with you in just a minute, answered Jake. He felt he still owed one more handshake. Where was Spencer? He scanned the crowd. There. Suddenly, Jake felt like a blast of cold air had hit him, and it wasn't just the November weather. Dave Driscoll had beaten him to it and was shaking Spencer Solomon's hand. Now Jake understood why Dave had told him not to come to practice Monday and why he hadn't wanted to talk about the provincial competition. He was waiting for the results of this race. He was going to go with Spencer. It made sense. Spencer was a great runner, the best, but still. Dave laughed at something Spencer said and then turned. He saw Jake and walked over, a big grin on his face. Jake steeled himself for what was coming. He stuck out his hand awkwardly to shake Dave's. "Dave," he blurted, "thanks for asking me to be part of the Diamond team." Dave looked confused. I'm glad I did, Jake. And I understand why you don't need me anymore." "I don't need you anymore? I completely understand why you're asking me to step aside." "I'm asking you to step aside? Why am I doing that?" "It's for the good of the team with that big race coming up. Spencer's your man." Dave looked back to where he'd just been chatting with Spencer, and suddenly he understood. He shook his head. He stopped shaking Jake's hand and cuffed him on the shoulder. "Jake, what are you talking about? You're still a member of our team. I'm not ditching you." "You're not?" "No way. I was just congratulating Spencer on a great one, just like I want to congratulate you. Well done." Jake let out his breath. He hadn't realized he'd been holding it the whole time. "Thanks, Dave." Now, funny thing is, since we're talking about the Diamond team, it does appear we will need another runner for the provincial race. Seems Paul has come down with chicken pox. I hear it's been going around. I thought it was just for little kids. Jake laughed. "Me too." "Poor Paul," he said. "He'll have a tough time lying low for a bit." They both nodded. "But Dave, if you have to do some recruiting, I think you should call Spencer." "Yeah? Yeah, definitely." "Okay then, I'll ask him. But I wonder if we can find some sort of a job for your friend Simon, too. He just seems to be able to keep everybody on the up and up. What do you think?" "Sounds great." When Jake and his dad got home, they found the kitchen table covered in boxes. "How'd it go?" asked his mom. "Great," answered Jake. "Second." "Nice finish." She messed up his hair. "Are you all done now?" Jake looked at his dad and laughed. Behind his back, his dad was holding the piece of paper he'd gotten from Dave outlining the plans for going to the provincial race on the weekend. "Almost," he replied. "What's all this?" "Well," said his mom, "there's a big concert in a couple of weeks and we're helping to get the word out." The boxes nearest Jake were full of flyers. "What concert? Is Luke going?" Jake lifted out one of the posters. "You could say that," she said with a laugh. Jake looked at the page in his hand. "Youth concert, featuring the Cave Dwellers, Pond Scum, and celebrated solo guitarist Luke Jarvis." Jake's eyes almost popped out of his head. "People want to come and hear Luke play?" His dad grinned. "He's really not so bad." "So," explained Jake's mom, "we'll have to get these posters out around town and help with some of the setting up at the hall. But what I really need to do is order some refreshments. I'm not sure who to call. Anyone have a good idea?" Jake had the perfect suggestion. "Mom," he said, "you need to call Ben's Bakery." "Are they good?" "The best," insisted Jake. "Okay then." "Hey, can I call Simon and invite him to this thing?" "Absolutely. You might want to make it a sleepover. It's going to be late." "Tell him we'll make pizza," threw in Jake's dad. "We'll have a movie, too." "That sounds like a great idea," said Simon when Jake called. But when Simon suggested pickles as one of the toppings to try on their pizza, Jake found he couldn't say the same. "I got a good idea for a movie, though," offered Jake. "Spider-Man!" they shouted together.